Very dear students, today we are going to talk in this video about discourse analytic approaches to text and talk. How we can analyze text or how we can analyze talk in order to understand the hidden meanings or the meanings which have been intended or the meanings which one is unable to understand, and discourse analysis would be helpful in understanding those meanings. Therefore, let's delve deep into it and see what else we can have. The very first thing that we need to talk about is the understanding of discourse analysis, what discourse analysis itself can be. So, therefore, let us see that what the definition of discourse analysis says. According to the definition, discourse analysis is a multidisciplinary approach that examines how language is used in real world context to understand meaning, power, dynamics, and social interpretations and interactions. So, this definition also tries to clarify the thing that basic purpose of discourse analysis is to understand the use of language, how language is used to reveal and understand the power dynamics and social interactions, and in what context it is done. So, that is why that again relates the language and the analysis of language in understanding social, political, and power dynamics. And the same language is also used for the same purpose, and that is why this discourse analysis goes beyond the literal meaning of words to explore the underlying assumptions, ideologies, and social practices shaping communication. It means that while we analyze discourse, we need to focus on few things. That means what was assumed by the writer and what was assumed by the reader, what the meaning possibly can be there. But then there are certain ideologies and social practices also which help us, which ask us to understand the meaning of these things in this way or that way. And as a result, this shapes our communication also. So, in that way, discourse analysis becomes really very, very significant, and that we need to understand here. So, that is why one of the principles or the key principles are here, which will guide us further how we can make an understanding of all this. So, first one is the context matters. Definitely, whatever the talk, whatever the writing material is going to be, context is really very much important. That is why it comes first of all at number one. Language cannot exist itself unless the context is there, or in other words, in simple words, we can say that meaning being constructed with the help of language cannot be understood better unless the context has been understood. The context always exists, it is always present, or it is created. And in the same way, the similar discourse analysis has the second feature, and that is going to be power dynamics. We need to keep in all the mind that power dynamics are very much necessary to understand, to conduct a very successful discourse analysis. Rather, I should say that discourse analysis is the one thing that reflects and reinforces social power structures, and in that way, we're going to know how individuals and groups interact which are different in their powers. For example, one group may be more powerful, another group may be less powerful. They are using language in order to influence and get influenced as well. So, in this way, the power dynamics are also determined, revealed, hidden, and discovered through discourse analysis. Then comes the social constructions, the third important key point of discourse analysis. That social construction says that language plays a crucial role in shaping our understanding of the world and constructing social reality. When we are talking to the people or we are writing some discourses, at that time we always have in our mind that we are going to construct something, we are going to build something, or we are going to understand a construction. So that is why when we analyze language through discourse analysis, either in written form or in spoken form, we are actually trying to see how the social construction has been done, the reality has been created, or how the particular text or talk goes to create a particular reality. So, in that way, these three principles are quite dominant in discourse analysis. One is the context, other is the power dynamics, and then is the social construction. Leading further, we can see that textual features and structures are all the time present in a discourse. When text is written, some of the features are always there. For example, the very first feature is the linguistic structure. every written text has the linguistic structure, and that is why it should contain some grammatical things, vocabulary, and figurative use of language. These things would be there, and that would help the authors to convey not only the intended meanings to the audience, but also to understand the meaning of the author when the discourse analysis is conducted. So, therefore, linguistic structures help us a lot in order to see what the sentence is, which grammar has been used. By which grammar, I mean which rule of grammar, which function of grammar, and which type of vocabulary has been used, and up to what extent the figurative language, that is, similes, metaphors, etc., have been used. And then comes the second thing, and that is going to be discourse markers. And every one of us knows that there are many discourse markers, but these are most of the time a type of conjunctions and the connectors. We can also try to understand the use of these discourse markers, why and how they have been used. I mean, what is the kind of place, what is the kind of thing which has been connected? Either these are nouns, or these are verbs, or these are what and how they have been conducted. This will help us understand the purpose of creating of the text. And similarly, the third feature of the text can be genre and style. That will help us to understand which specific genre has been used. I mean, by genre, that whether it's a drama, it's a speech, or it's going to be poetry, or it is something else. And same is the case with the style. The style, writing style, definitely, that influences the structure, the content, and the tone of the text also. And this thing is also done by the writers, definitely. So, three things help us understand the text, that is, the linguistic structures, and then discourse markers, and genre style. Moving on further, we have not only the text in our discourses but also the conversation. Conversations reveal the interactional patterns, and because of these interactional patterns, we are able to understand the intended discourse or the intended meaning of the text. We can therefore look at the turn taking style, how the turn is being taken by the people, whether they are in a very disciplinary and regular way taking the turns, or they are interrupting each other, or they are overlapping each other. That will help us what is the power dynamics working behind, what is the context which is working behind all this situation. And in the same pattern, the body language of the people would be very important. While people are conversating, we can go to the body language, which means that there are some non-verbal cues also. There are some facial expressions, gestures, and the body postures. These help us to understand the things which are not spoken even, but the body language shows that certain things have been talked about, message has been conveyed about. Understanding of this body language also helps us. And then let us see the questioning strategies. What are the questioning strategies used in order to control the flow of conversation, or to get the information from the people, or to influence others? So the questions are also really very important. The three things, that is turn taking, and after that comes the body language and the questioning strategies. These are significant when we want to understand a talk or a conversation. So that goes to show how the text is understood in order to understand the real meaning, and how they have been created, how they have been conveyed, and same is the case with the talk also. However, a little bit of difference in the talk is that we go to talk about the body language also, and turn taking styles, and the questions too. So, in this way, talks can also be understood to convey or interpret or discover the hidden meanings. And after that, when we talk of the not simply discourse analysis, but that of the critical discourse analysis, because here, when we are analyzing discourse, we are trying to discover what is the ideology which is being conveyed to the reader or to the listener. What is the power dynamic that has been conveyed through that? For example, ideological representations can be seen how the language has been used in order to construct and reinforce the social ideologies. Or sometimes even it can be seen in case of gender also, and race, class, and power also, that how these have been established. For example, what has been said about the gender. If the writer is going to be a female, what has been said about the male, or what has been said about the female, and how does that indicate the race? The race, what is the kind of race of a person and how he's trying to declare that, and after that, what is the power of ideology or something like that has been revealed into it. So therefore, ideology and power, when are discovered, it becomes critical discourse analysis. Power, for example, is to see how language is used to maintain and challenge or resist power structures in the society. That type of language will convey to us that someone is trying to resist that power. So it means not only the power discourse, but also the resistance to power discourse can also be discovered through this kind of analysis, which is called critical discourse analysis. Then are some of the cultural interpretations that a few things of the language can be interpreted through not only ideology and representation, but also the discourse and power. And now here comes the critical interpretation. That means focusing on the ways language can be used to manipulate, oppress, or exclude certain groups. So, in grouping and outgrouping can also be done with the help of language. That is quite dominantly available in every discourse. How some of the people are included in one group and some of the people are excluded, and how those excluded groups are oppressed also. This is done also through language. So that is why the critical discourse analysis will provide us these type of features. When you are ready in order to apply the critical discourse analysis to any text at that time, not only we need to see what the text is going to be, but also the media analysis. The media analysis shows or examines how news articles, television programs, and social media platforms shape public opinion and influence social discourses. That is a very important and significant source these days to conduct discourse analysis, because in the media platforms it is really very easy to find out the inner working of the people's minds and the power structures and the ideology how they are being promoted. So it's a very good source to conduct an analysis that is called media analysis in order to see how the opinion is being shaped and how the people are being influenced. Same is the case with the political discourses. The political discourses will help us analyze the language used by the politician, by the lobbyist, and by political parties to understand the strategies, agenda, and persuasive techniques. That means it takes a special type of mind to look into the ways the politician is speaking or the political discourse is being written, because here it's very easy to find out how the politician or the political discourse is using its different strategies in order to convince the people, in order to persuade the people, and what techniques are being used in order to persuade. How much role of the body language is there, how much the language is being spoken, and in what way it is being spoken, and in what way it's being written. All this thing helps us understand the political tactics in order to gain the favor. Then comes the educational discourses. These are also very important because here we can investigate the language used in classroom and in the textbook also, and assessment to understand how knowledge is constructed and transmitted. The educational discourse are very useful because education is given to the young people, and it is very delicate matter and sensitive matters that they should be influenced through certain ways and means. That is why the language used in the classrooms and the textbook will help us understand how the knowledge is being constructed, whether it is being constructed for a special group or the special type of people, and how then it is being transmitted. I mean, is the teacher discourse being said, is the video about the lesson, is the textbook where some of the pictures, some of the words have been used in order to influence a particular type of ideology or the construction of that ideology. So that would be very helpful indeed, because it really becomes a critical discourse analysis. So this all goes to prove that we can understand not only the meaning of the language used there, but discourse analysis will help us the hidden meanings. And then if we try to see the impact and effects of those things, I mean working of ideology and power and influence in the written and spoken discourse, that will become critical discourse analysis, and this helps us understand all the language, what the language is going to be. So therefore we have some of the strengths of this system and some of the limitations of this system about the discourse analytical approach. First is that it helps us understand the depth of the meanings. And the second one says that the context can also be understood. It becomes, however, a social critique. I mean, when we are working on it, it's very possible that we may be able to understand what the society is and what the society wants actually, what it is saying, what the hidden meanings are there. So, in a way, it can be a critical social critique as well in order to understand the reality of a society. So, that is why it both has some of the positive things, that is the strength discovering, the depth discovering, or understanding the context. But then it becomes the critique of society as well, and this possibly may reveal certain new things in it. And that is why ultimately we reach our conclusion that this is really very interesting field. It is dynamic also, and it is evolving with the passage of time. It is not stopping at one time. So there's something very good with that. As the discourses evolve, in the same way, the discourse analysis also evolves. The age of 21st century is going to be the age of new technologies and very dominant technologies, and same is the case with discourse analysis, that it also learns with the passage of time all those technologies and tries to understand how the communication is being shaped with the help of these technologies. And it also helps us involve into the future researches, that is, will continue to explore the complexities of human interaction. So the students of research methodology from here can understand how, when they conduct research, they will be able to understand the written discourse and the talk discourse, and what are the parameters required for this purpose, and what they are the benefit going to get out of that. So this was all about this lesson, students. Well, if you have understood something, if it was good for you in any way, please do not fail to hit the subscribe and like button, and give your comments also if you like to. Sometime I view it. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you again. And I must say before I leave that thank you. And this, is a very good way to put the things to final use. So see you in some next video.